Welcome to Lights Camera Thrills. In today's episode, I have two very special filmmakers. Nicolas Aska, who started his journey in IT and later on, due to a promise, ended up making a short film. I also have Shan Burugula, who worked in production for years and later on realized that his true passion lied in editing. In this episode, we'll discuss various things. We'll talk about how Nicholas ended up making his first short film from scratch, how Shan started working in editing through his raw experience. We'll also talk about what it is like to make deeply personal, emotional stories and what happens when you submit your films to film festivals. So, if you are someone who is trying to figure out as they go, this episode is for you. The links of the guest is in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as it helps us grow. Let's dive in.
So we finally meet here with my editor Shan. He's done a fine job on Crick-Nick 2.0. But a little bit about my own journey. I started writing Bro Binny, which was my first film, as a novel. And somebody who was reading the novel and guiding me, he said, "Okay, this could be a film." And then it being very close to my heart, it was my late brother's story. So I then said, "Okay, are you serious?" And I was questioning them about their comment, and they said, "I'm very serious, this could be a film." And then that's how my journey started as a novelist, but then I transitioned into filmmaking, and I took some courses from a prestigious organization, one of them being the biggest university in Toronto, and the other one is a smaller known independent film course provider. So I took some courses there, and I was mentioning to them that, okay, I have a terrific story, and it's going to get funding just based upon my passion. And he first laughed. He first laughed, and then he was very adamant and was very rude, and he told me, "Unless you have something to show people, nobody's going to invest. Don't even think about investment. Nobody's going to invest in your film." For a few days, I couldn't sleep. But then later on, I said, "Okay, this is not going away." That feeling wasn't going away. So I said, "You know what? You said such big things. So now I'm going to show you what I can do." And then that's how I stepped into my first role as a director, producer, and writer. And I made Bro Binny, and it's won tons of awards. My child actor in the film was nominated Joey Awards Vancouver as the finalist. And then the film itself went on to do very well on the film festival circuit, as well as it's now being promoted by Amazon Prime, and also recently got distribution on YouTube by Stash Shorts. That's how I
And
started.
that's pretty interesting. And but you were not always into filmmaking, right? You
No.
switched careers.
Yeah,
Uh,
I still have a day job, but yeah, I wasn't into filmmaking. I'm an IT guy. I don't know what filmmaking is. I
I think
watch a lot of films. But yeah, I guess it was an accidental journey, an accident that actually turned into a journey and now is progressing. So yeah.
interesting. And you have been in Canada for about 10 years or
No,
more,
I've been in Canada for 17 years now.
17 years. And you
Yeah,
have been making films
for
since
10
10
years. Yeah.
years. So before this, you were in quality assurance, right?
I was a senior QA analyst.
And then you switched to filmmaking. Were there any skills that you were able to transfer to filmmaking?
Yes,
Or
yes. Because as a senior QA analyst, you have to read a lot of documentation. You have to read business requirements. You have to read SOWs and all kinds of documentation, and then you have to take that and take test plans and test cases and all that. So documentation is my strong suit. So I then use that documentation skill into writing aspect of my films. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, right? All the
Yeah,
skills are transferable. You need to
they
know
are. They are.
both.
If you know what to do with them, they are definitely transferable. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also have here Sean, who is the editor and has worked with Nicholas quite closely. Welcome to the show, Sean. Uh, you were always interested in working in the film industry, right? So why editing? How did you get interested in that?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Diksha. Well, filmmaking kind of happened at a very early age. When I was in my middle school, I just thought, even though I was a very okay student in science and math, somehow I always had this innate thing that I probably am going to use my abilities towards something in art. But I didn't quite know if it was going to be filmmaking or some other kind, because also used to play music instruments, and like I kind of didn't know I had everything I could choose from. But I think it was around my 11th 12th grade when we actually attended a film shoot or something like that happened in our college. And I think that's when I sat there, just observed everybody, and from what I remember, it was one of my first memories of how I fell in love with filmmaking. Editing came much after, or 3 or 4 years after. I actually started my career in producing. I was a PA, then a production manager, then an assistant producer. And from that, I changed into editing.
What intrigued you towards editing?
I'll be honest, producing was a lot of effort. It was 16-hour days, endless phone calls, everybody looking at you for answers. All that for just solving business problems. It's still not like creative problems. So I wanted to be on the creative side of things. And I just took up a small diploma course in film editing. And then uh, I probably was really good at it because people were giving me a lot of work even when I was in that school. So this was 10 years ago, when I just started learning editing. That's when like people used to come to me and say, "Hey, you've done a good job with the previous one. Can you do something for me now?" And then that's when it kept on going. And when you receive a certain feedback, you know that you're good at it, and then you continue to do it. And it gave me a lot of happiness, so I continued to do it. And here we are.
Here we are. And what was your family's reaction to this? Because
Yeah,
choosing art in India is tough.
it's definitely tricky because we don't from a very rich family or from a family who's had artists in the family before. So it's definitely tricky, especially when your mother is a principal of a school that takes care of like 800 children's future and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of negotiation that happens. Hey, I'm gonna attend IIT school for you. Will you give me a couple of years just to experiment with this? And then, like, there are a lot of negotiations that happen. But throughout that, my father was also really supportive, and that gave me a little playground in which I could like experiment and see. And it worked out. I continued until now.
Yeah. And this reminds me, Nicholas had a very supportive mom. She helped him through a very difficult time as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. As I was telling you earlier, I'm a burn survivor. So I had burns like third degree burns on my body. 16% of my body had third degree burns, and then after that, I was feeling very conscious of myself because those burns were really very evident, and in awkward places, like you can see, I have some burns. I mean, skin grafting and stuff. Today it looks like a sexy tattoo, but back then, when it happened, it did look like that. So I was very conscious of it, and would feel very shy to even step out of my house. And my mom was who that slowly reincorporated me and helped me get back into school and then clear my exams and everything like that, while my father was in the background supporting all of us. So yeah, I mean, that's where if you see most of my films, they're about overcoming challenges, because people tend to, I feel, give up too soon. And it is in my DNA through these circumstances that I've been put through, that I understand a particular psyche of a human being, that there is more for them to give. It's just that they give up too soon. So I had to learn that in my own life, and that's what I bring to my films. If you watch Crick-Nick, Shan was a part of it. He did a fabulous job editing it. And then if you look at it, at the end of it, it is somebody who is lesser than life, pushes himself and makes himself larger than life. Same thing was with Bro Binny as well, and some of my other films as well tie into the same story. I mean, the essence, the story is different, but the essence is still intact. Yeah.
That's interesting. Since we are talking about Bro Binny, do you want to tell a little bit more about what inspired you to make that film? And it is inspired by a real incident.
Yeah, it was my brother championed humor and leadership, and which is what I wanted to put into the character Brobini. And when he passed away, it was very heartbreaking, as you can imagine. It was too emotional, and we really couldn't say goodbye to my brother. And the even in the trailer, there is a sequence where the son, when asked by his mom, can you tell me I love you, he runs away. So basically, that was the one regret I had with my brother. I never told him I love him. Yeah, I never told him I love him, and he passed away. So that was my one promise I made to myself, that anybody who comes my way, I will let them know how much I like them, how much I love them, and how much I respect them in my life. So I've continued to follow that path, and that's what inspired me to bring about Bro Benny. That one regret, as well as my brother's character. I wanted to give a tribute and homage to him. So that's how I showcase some of him through the film that lives on in the silver screen. Yeah.
And I think that is quite nicely portrayed on screen as well, because it is so widely appreciated on so
Mm.
many film festivals, right? That's a great thing. It's a great tribute. Moving on towards Shan's project, I was really curious about the editing style or any methodologies that you use in your editing projects.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that I always lived by was I took cues from the script, because script is the holy grail, and that's how I treated it. I took a tone, I took the pace from the script, because the writer or the director basically is working off of that. So their vision is built around that script. So I usually read it twice and then come up with certain cuts or like things that I would think that really convey um, what I'm reading through. And that's what's always helped me, is just catching that tone of the film, or like when somebody says, hey, that looks really nice. There is a lot of effort that goes behind it. Yes, it does look nice, But there is actually a very methodical approach to it. So yeah, usually take the script, cues from it, and develop the editing pace, editing tone for it from there.
And talking about like very new editors, if you look at the screen, sometimes more often than not, there's a mess. There is no organization or color coding or anything. Could you give like a few tips if someone is starting out, how to keep their well footage organized?
Yeah, there are certain folder structures that I follow where I have all the footage at one place, all the project files at another place, scripts, logs, music, sound, SFX. These are the kind of folders that I have. What most importantly works for me for a very fast and good editing is having good claps, like labeling the all the shots, and having good clean audio that I can work with in all the takes makes my job so much more easier. At that point, I'm thinking about creative decisions and thinking, oh, how do I bring about better emotion, better acting? How do I give the viewers a nice, good effect of watching a nice cinematic film? Um,
And talking specifically about sound design, you said that it's probably the difficult part when it comes to the editing process. What is your experience like?
yeah, it's always difficult for me to remember that editing is 50% picture and 50% sound. So I intuitively focus more, or most people focus on the picture so much more than the sound, where most of the effect is also coming from sound. And sound has always been very tricky for me because nobody actually teaches you how to edit sound. Sure, they mention things like, oh, there's a J cut, there's an L cut. Why don't you bleed the audio into the next scene so it creates a very nice transition and whatnot? But that's not just it. Like there's a little more nuance to it, and nobody teaches you that. So you kind of have to experiment with stuff. Now, at least there are like so many film schools that teach you on YouTube and stuff like that. But back in the day, like I'm talking 8 years ago, you kind of had to download those libraries of like 100,000 sounds, experiment, lay them all out, and kind of see how a scene is building up. And it's not just about how loud or how soft the music is. It's about so many other things like what kind of instruments, how does that go with the theme of the story, and like just the tempo of the music that you choose. So there are a lot more variables to sound, and especially because sound is one of those things you can't even watch, like listen to sound in fast forward. Like it has to play in real time, and you have to really focus to kind of listen to sound. Picture is different. Like you can scrub through a scene and see, okay, this is what happens in this scene. But audio is different. So I personally feel like audio is that much more difficult to edit.
It requires a lot of patience as well.
Yeah.
And so you have worked in Canada, Dubai, Saudi. You have worked in all these countries. Did you find any difference in working styles, expectations, anything like that?
I'm originally from India. That's where I graduated. So I worked in India also. I worked for feature films in India. Everywhere I worked is very different. In India, there's a lot of star culture where the industry is star driven, and everybody here knows that. But in Saudi, there's no cinema, there's no film. When I went back in 2015, 16, um, it's it's very much like sports people coming into commercials and things like that, and that's where things changed a little bit, where it became a little more conceptual than just star driven. So the narrative changed a little bit. And then in Dubai, again, it's a little more different in the sense that a lot of YouTube influencers and like the Instagram influencers. So that's what drove most of the market there. So Overall, filmmaking is the same, in which you're trying to convey a particular story, be it 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 2 hours. You're trying to convey an emotion, convey a story. But what changes is who you're catering to. Are you catering to sports fans, or are you catering to a person that likes a specific star, or somebody that only likes a good story or a documentary? So that kept changing the target audience, but intrinsically, filmmaking is just the same.
So you had to change your mindset every time you created a content. You had to think from the perspective of the audience. That's
Yes,
that's
exactly that. Exactly.
that's intense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because filmmaking in itself is tough, but since there has been like a flood of so many different platforms out there, people expect people like artists to create things for those platforms, but they fail to understand that the same content cannot go anywhere everywhere, because the intention also matters behind it.
absolutely.
Yeah, moving on to editor director relationship, since there is another person here, our director. um, what do you think would help an editor if, in terms of like, what direction can the director give to an editor to make their work easier?
I think I will echo what Shan said a little bit earlier is a good script. I think the good script is like the Holy Grail. I will echo what Shan was saying. Apart from that, I think the editing process is a very fluid process, right? It's a very fluid process where uh, you make the decisions as to what you want to see or what you want the audience to see, right? So I wouldn't make it too technical. It is a technical thing, technical skill set that somebody learns over their life, over their whole life. But if you want to make it very easy for the editor, you give him the beat sheet, let them know what you're expecting, what your expectations are, because with every different director, I'm sure everybody wants something different, right? Nobody wants to make the same film again and again. So yeah, that would be very helpful in terms of Crick-Nick 2.0. My experience with Shan, I gave him the script, I gave him, and then he went and worked on it and brought it to me, and then we sat down and we fine tuned whatever shows on screen now. So what I wanted from Shan was that openness where we could sit down and make the story evolve. So that was what I really appreciated about Shan. He was very, he listened to all my inputs, and then he said, okay, how if I do this, what if I do that, and then I made the creative decision as to, I like that, let's do that, or something like that. So it's a very fluid process. You cannot pinpoint. If it was a science, then every film would be a success, right? Yeah, so it's not. It's a very fluid process, so don't get too tied up by the technicalities. Sometimes you have to come out of the techniques and stuff and open up to the possibilities of what the story is saying. Sometimes it is, the story is conveying its own life, right? You have to capture that life and bring it to the audiences, which is what I think Shan did in this project. Yeah.
Right. And Shan, we were discussing about that previously, right? That it kind of helps if the directors come up with some sort of timestamps that helps you, instead of giving vague instructions. That is kind of tough for an editor to judge what they are trying to say, and unless they come up with a timestamp. But did you have any particularly like tough or smooth collaboration? We'll talk about Nicholas right after this. But other than Nick, did you have any very great or not so great experiences when it comes to these instructions?
Yeah. Uh, at the end of the day, we make anything work. Like as an editor, like I have this responsibility on me to kind of take the project to the finish line because I'm the last person that works on it, and then a project is made. But having said that, there are certain practices that make my job a little more difficult. Like having ambiguous feedback, like, okay, it's not really speaking to me. How can we make it a little better? Instead, saying, okay, I don't like the actor's profile here, or I don't like his acting here because he looks this much dull, or he looks that much of a different emotion. And then when you bring it like that, then it becomes so much more easier. And then I can also catch on to that pulse. And that's what Nick and I had was when he told me that, okay, right here, his dialogue doesn't have the depth. And then that's concrete feedback for me to work off of. It's not vague, it's not ambiguous. So when you're telling me that, okay, this is the thing, then I'm looking out for those cues throughout the rest of the editing process. Because I know that, okay, this is the tuning to which Nick imagined his film to be. So that gives me a better perspective. And also the fact that knowing your footage, like I understand that it's my job to know all the footage, but when there's a director that directs an actor on set, they kind of know what the actor delivered. So you'd know a little bit more than I do, which takes are better, where the acting was extracted better. So in cases like this, I rely more on the director. In other cases, the director relies more on me. So it's a very collaborative effort like that.
And you said something very beautiful when we were talking. You said working with Nicholas, he came with notes, and he thinks in emotions, uh, which was very interesting. Can you explain it from your perspective, and then we'll ask Nick
He
what
did
was
tell me that.
Yeah, Crick-Nick has two of my favorite things. One is the relationship with mother, and the second thing is cricket. It's a very organic and natural kind of a weave that story has. And whenever Nick and I sat down on the editing table, he gave me references. One of the references I remember is Gulam, the old retro film of Amir Khan, which has a lot of mother sentiment in it. So we've had certain established emotions that we could work off of. So he always came back to me and said, "Hey, it's falling a little flat in terms of the relationship between uh, the son and the mother. Can we do something? What can we do here?" And then that's when I came up with, "Oh, why don't we bring a few flashes of his mother here?" And then that's how we'll try and create this scene where there's a lot of reminiscing factor. Will that bring up the quotient a little bit? And that's how we kind of discussed and landed on how to deliver the emotion more than, oh, what effect can we use? Oh, what new thing can we bring? No, but we already have a set of things that we want to invoke in the audience. How do we use those sporadically and bring out that emotion? So that was kind of very easy to work with Nick in that sense.
What do you think about that, Nick?
He did tell me that. He told you that. So So this is heartening to hear that from my editor. He's done some great work. He recently, I think their work has been uh, nominated for CSA award as well. Potluck Ladies, his work has been nominated for CSA, Canadian Screen Awards. So it's very heartening to hear that this is what he has to say about me and my process. I strongly believe that, personally, I believe that when a film evokes an emotion within you, if you watch something new with flashes and effects and all that stuff and action and things like that, yes, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good temporarily, but then after you go back outside the theater, it once again you're back to life. Oh my god, what do I do now? But when you leave somebody with an emotion, when you bring about an emotion within them and make them feel something, and they feel that connection is there, I believe those are the films that shaped me, myself as well, uh, through my upbringing. And then I believe when they connect with that emotion, they take it into their day to day lives, because people emulate people they like, right? That everybody knows. People emulate people they like. So when I leave them with that feeling, the reason I made Crick-Nick 2.0 is because I wanted to set straight my own father and son relationship between me and my father. And he's going through dialysis right now, so I'm not sure how long he's going to be here. But I wanted to bring that to a closure and show him how much I loved him before even he passes away. So when he watched it and felt it, that made me feel really validated. It felt validated. He was like, this is amazing, keep going, don't give up. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate Sean catching on to that spirit, and bringing out the emotions. Because when you watch Crick-Nick 2.0, it's everybody who's watched it has told me, my god, this is a roller coaster of a movie, man. It makes me cry, it makes me laugh, it makes me do everything in between. So uh, I appreciate that feedback, and that's what I wanted the audience to feel, which me and Sean, I think, collaborated very well together.
And since you mentioned Potluck, let's hear a little bit more about the film, and which is winning so many prestigious awards. What is the film about, Sean?
Yeah, it's the story of immigrants. It's very Canadian. There's a condo called Wives Condos in Mississauga, where the wives live with their kids while their spouses work in um, overseas, outside of Canada, trying to provide for their family. And what happens within those condos, and there's a little bit of drama that happens in it. That's what the project is. I had the opportunity to work with Shazia and the editor, the editor that I worked with, Carol. I worked as the assistant editor on it. Um, Great project, winning so many awards. Has been nominated as best series for best series at Canadian Screen Awards. Um, so yeah, very proud of the project, and yeah, you can catch it on Amazon Prime, Hollywood Suite.
A huge congratulations on that. Great work.
Thank you so much.
Well, before we dive more into Crick-Nick 2, I wanted to talk more about Nick. So, the film is about second innings in life, the second chance.
And
And
chances,
filmmaking
second
is
innings, yeah.
so in your career, film came as a second inning, and you switched and you worked in quality assurance, and then you were also trying to make films while also studying for project
Project
management.
management, yeah.
But you also had this difficult time period where companies weren't hiring because you were making films, but you were also just started out in quality, like, and were doing quality assurance with making films, and that kind of created an issue. What was that about? And
Honestly speaking, I'm not really sure what that was about, but from my own understanding of it, I when you Google me, you see so many films and so many roles. I'm losing a track of how many hats I'm wearing nowadays. But I believe, like my mom told me, maybe that's the reason why I'm not getting interviews as a senior QA analyst. Then I had to pivot and go something to put food on the table. And then now I'm studying back into IT. I wanted to get back into IT and stuff, so I'm doing project management course. But yeah, I believe these. I'm not really sure, but I believe everybody is supposed to get a chance to go ahead and do whatever they want to do in their private life. And I don't know, I was having a hard time finding QA roles after I started putting myself out as a filmmaker and director and producer. So uh, my thinking behind it is maybe that's the reason why people were not giving me more opportunities, because I had 13 14 years of experience. When I mean, Shan knows I'm I'm too I look into details with a crazy vigor, because I'm somebody who is all for the details, the minutest of details. So, and when I gave a final stamp on a project, they would say, "Okay, it's done. That's okay. Nick is signed off on this. It'll be great." So that's the reputation I developed in the IT industry. But then, for some reason, 1.5 year, I couldn't crack another job at it and stuff. Maybe because I went back into business. I did some ventures of business ventures as well, which now, because of law changes and tax changes, have changed as well. So they're not profitable anymore. But yeah, that was my thinking. That was my thinking behind it.
But if that is the case, it's very disheartening to know
It
that.
is. It is. Yeah, because people should be allowed to express themselves, right? Whichever way. Somebody likes to express themselves through sport, somebody likes to express themselves through film. So when you don't see something wrong with sports, why should you see something wrong with film? It's still film. You're working with a lot of people around you and stuff. So I don't
Maybe
know.
it's under speculation more because it's out there, people can see it.
Possibly. Possibly. Yes.
Well, starting on a positive note, let's talk about Crick-Nick 2.0 in detail.
Okay.
Um, all right, can you tell what inspired it and what do people expect in the film?
Yeah. So what inspired it is my own personal journey. I'm telling this so many times to so many people. It's I named it after myself as well. Crick-Nick 2.0. What inspired it was, after 8 years of my life, I went back to playing cricket again. I met a really good person. His name is Shukri. He runs his own company. It's a non-for-profit. It's called Glow Toronto, and he's got a cricket arm and he's got a social arm for it. So he saw that I am very intrigued by it. It was physician, my physician, who said maybe you should go back into sport and things like that. So I found this team that was hiring, and then I met Shukri, and then he said, okay, why don't you come and play? And when I started playing, I noticed that my skills, like old wine, have aged really well. And I was playing better than in my 20s. So I said, why can't this be a film? And then maybe I can capture my journey. And then that's how it started. But then, as I started opening up to the possibilities of the world, then 3 weeks before shooting the film, I did not know the lead character. I did not know Madhur. I did not know he existed. I did not know he was who. He had a team and all that stuff. Nothing. I was completely oblivious to him. But then 3 weeks later, he starcast in my film as a lead role. So it was all, can't take all the credit. You have to give some credit to God as well. So he came about, and then I noticed that he and I have a lot of similarities. Initially, I thought maybe I have to do the role and stuff to keep it very authentic. But then I realized he has most of those similarities in the skills or whatever. He is a very strong leader as well, and everything like that. So, which matched with my persona as well. So I said, "Will you be interested in being cast as a film?" He has no acting experience. I'll break that barrier. He has no prior acting experience. All I saw was they acted like themselves in front of the tripod they put on while while bowling and batting and stuff. So I knew they were not camera shy, but they had no acting experience. So I told him, I will, that's my job, leave that to me, but would you be interested in it? He said yes. I like the way he said yes, because it was very confident and very decisive. He said yes. So I said, okay, then can we have some of your team members come be a part of it? He said yes again. And then I said, okay, this is happening. And then 3 weeks later, we shot the film, and 6 months, 8 months now, I think, into the film, right, Shan? It's out there, and we're showing it in film festivals and stuff. Yeah, that's the inspiration. Crick-Nick. So Crick stands for cricket. Nick is myself. Nick, I gave it the name Nick, but it's more Madhur than me. And then 2.0 is because it's the second half of his life. After 40, I know many people look at it as second part of your life. So it's the second half of his life.
What was like giving direction to someone who is not working in the film industry? Because we use so many random terms that a person outside the industry might not know.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
someone who's
It's
active.
it is it is a deeper understanding. It is a more spiritual level understanding, I believe, that I'm blessed with my with my upbringing and everything. But I have understanding of the deeper psyche of a human being, and that's what I've been gifted with, which I bring to the table when I go into a project. But it wasn't difficult. It was understanding. It was letting them understand what the character in the film was supposed to do. And he was very clear in asking me that, okay, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And then I was feeding them the backstory. I was feeding them the backstory because I wanted a very authentic and raw execution of the project. So that is what I was looking for, and he delivered big time. He delivered big time because everybody who's watched the film till now, nobody can believe that he's a first time actor. No, no way. No way. So he delivered big time, and then I had some good support cast around him as well. And I did the same thing with them as well, feeding them the thought process of what each scene meant to them. And everybody did a fine job.
I guess technicality can be learned. You need to
Yes,
have.
technicalities, the lingo and all that. I don't feed them all the lingo and stuff. I feed them the human emotion behind the scene. Yeah.
And Shan, what drew you to this project?
Nick was the one who drew me to the project. um, yeah, we were acquaintances. We briefly knew of each other. Um, but honestly, I think the thing that he did was he sent me the script over, and he said, "Hey, what do you think?" And next thing I know, we were working on the project. So uh, it's a very interesting project that I worked on. Not a lot of short films, and I've mentioned this before, have an action component to them. And the drama, the infield drama in the cricket scene, all that is kind of a really nice touch. And yeah, um, great great project to be associated with.
Another thing that you said was usually editing a project takes somewhere around 2 to 3 weeks. depending on how much information you have, how much data you have. That wasn't the case with Nick. How long did it take?
Yeah, I think it took us just over 5 days to kind of finish the editing part of the project, and then all the technicalities obviously will take a little bit longer. But I think when he was speaking to his QA experience from before, like that kind of project management, that kind of QA came into this filmmaking where he follows up with people like he means business. He wants his things on a schedule, and that's actually a really good quality in somebody who wants to be in filmmaking.
Thank you, brother. I thought
Yeah.
he's going to bash me on it.
No, no, no. No. Yeah, the well, to some people it may come across as just hammering people with follow-ups, but some people need it. Some people like me need it. So
I would say being proactive here. That's the word I would use. So what's that about, Nick? Why are we being so proactive?
I'm not sure you guys are the culprits for that. No, it's like 2 years ago, I did a project where Shan was the editor on it. It's called Newly Dead. So I knew he can do great work because he executed it very well. I mean, the film looked really good. And that's when I decided I'm going to be working with this guy on another project of mine. I think I reached out to him after the film as well and congratulated on how good it looked. But then, yeah, the proactivity, was brought into me by my project manager on the QA job. So he would uh, offload all his duties on me. He would say, okay, go follow up with the developer now, or go follow up with the architect now, go and find out when they're going to deliver and all that stuff. So that I then is another transferable skill. I tend not to push people who don't need it, but then after a while I'm like, okay, it's been some time, I've given you reasonable amount of time, then come on, what's going on, tell me something about it. I know for some people it comes across as a little bit rude, a little bit harsh, but then also I believe that it
Some
keeps
people
the
need it.
ship on track, yeah, it keeps the ship on track. So I'm looking at the bigger picture. And I'm saying, okay, the ship needs to turn here, the ship needs to turn there. So I'm doing from that aspect, not to piss off people or something like that. They know when I do that to people, they know it's out of genuine respect for their work. It's not to, bash them or anything like that.
Yeah.
I
So
hope
talking
that's what
about
Shan thinks
the
after
challenge.
this interview.
absolutely.
Well, let's talk about the challenges or the exciting stuff on the film set. Nicholas, let's start with you. Were there any specific challenges that you had to face on this film set?
You got me started now. you got me. You got me started now. Challenges from day one, man. From day one, I did not know. 3 days left to shoot. My DOP gave up on me. Okay. 3 weeks before, I did not know who I'm going to cast. If I'm going to be in the cast, I'm horrible with lines. So if I'm going to be in cast, or is there somebody else? 3 weeks to shoot, I don't know who that is. So I had to crack that. And then it took me over a month to find a cricket ground that would allow me to shoot. That was a challenge. So many challenges. It was like one after the other. So the DOP gave up. Ex DOP gave up, and then I had the privilege to work with Aiden, who's our DOP now, Aiden Grossman. So he did an amazing job. And then actor, of course, it's Madhur Gulati, who I just explained how we got on to set with him. And then challenge after challenge. And then cricket, we really did not know. We were even figuring out how we're going to be shooting the scene on the day. On the day we spent first 2 hours. First of all, the shoot was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. It started at 10:30 because the sprinklers won't get off. Okay, and then we only have until 5 o'clock in the evening. That's our cutoff, because then all the students are going to come into the place and start practicing. So we had only 7 hours to get it done. Then we were shooting the same scene for 2.5 hours, and then we said, this is not happening, let's do it the way we want to do it and get it all wrapped up. So challenge after challenge, even in the editing process as well, till the day Shan was delivering, there was some glitch coming up in that. You remember, Shan? There was some glitch happening in the film and stuff. So that again, we figured it out. So yeah, many challenges, even till the last day. Even now, there are challenges happening, but yeah, we are figuring it out as we go.
What goes in your head when these challenges come up? What are you
Oh,
thinking?
bring them on. Bring them on. I mean, there's only, see, when a person loses the fear, it is said that when a person loses the fear of death, though, that's the most dangerous person, right? So I faced death more than 4 5 times in my life. So I'm the dangerous person here. So I like, okay, bring it on. Just another problem solving situation. And that's how me and Shan worked on this project as well. It was like, okay, like some of the scenes, because of that time pressed situation, we had to improvise and take out some of the scenes which were not shot and everything. We improvised a lot. And then Shan was listening very well. And then I told him, Shan, this is not happening. I'm feeling bored after certain amount. We need to do something. And then Shan was like, okay, let me do this, let me do that. And then we put our minds together, and it turned out into a great project. Because even now, when I watch it, I get goosebumps. Yeah.
And talking about the scenes that you have put so much effort in, um, Shan, do you have a favorite one? Like, you feel like this is the best scene in the entire film that really resonates with you?
A couple of things that are really good writing is one of the things is the cricket part, and the second thing is how the father of the character is trying to make amends in his life, like how his transformation is. Because to start with, he's not the positive character, but there is an arc in which he becomes a better person. I think that's also a very, very nice thing. But visually, I think the last sequence where Nick goes back to visit his mother, I think that's visually the most pleasing scene.
I'm really intrigued to watch the film now.
Yeah. See, I told you it's going to make you watch the film.
What about you, Nick? I know it's a very tough question for you. You might love the entire film, but if you had to pick one scene, which one?
If I had to pick one scene from the whole project, I think what Sultan did justice to was that father and son hug that happens in the middle of the film. A lot of people tried to talk me out of it. They were like, put this in the end, put this in the end. And then I'm like, if I put that in the end, then that whole climax is going to go for a toss. So we put it somewhere in the middle, after the middle. So the way he hugged was basically how my father hugged me for the first time in his life. I mean, my father was a little bit of orthodox kind of upbringing. So that was the first time he left me to send me to the university. I was going to Coimbatore from Hyderabad. So that was how he expressed his love finally in his life. And that's how he hugged me. So that's exactly what Sultan brought to the screen. So I have to hug that guy many times because he portrayed it beautifully. And then the other one was that visual scene in the end. I love that scene as well. It was Jaspal Pannu who helped on the drone shots. So yeah, that was a beautifully captured scene. I was loving everything I was seeing there. So yeah.
I'm hearing emotions, I'm hearing action, I'm
Yeah.
hearing great shots. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for the film. It sounds super interesting.
Yeah, it is.
As we are moving to the end of the episode, what's next for you guys now? Of course, I think Nick is going to promote his film. But any other projects that you guys are looking forward to?
Yeah, I've been pitching four different projects. Crick-Nick also, I'm pitching it to become a feature film and stuff like that. So I have let Shan know that he'll be part of that editorial team. So yeah, we'll be working on something together very soon.
Sounds exciting. What about you, Shan?
Yeah, I'm working for a project called Go Togo that's on CBC. We started the season 2 for it, so it's a show with miniature toys trying to teach maths concepts to 5 to 10 year olds. It's on CBC Gem. Great project. Justin and Lindsay, the makers of it, just visionaries with how they created these custom-made toys, and the way they're shooting with these probe lenses. The set is just brilliant. All these miniature figures and which have motors in them. They move around. It's a great project to be a part of.
They sound like amazing projects, and I'm really looking forward to Crick-Nick 2.0 as well. All the very best, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Diksha. I just wanted to point out, did you see Nick's t-shirt?
Here,
No. What does it say? Entertainment.
yeah,
Oh,
the
That
Light
okay.
of My Heart Entertainment, and this is the Crick-Nick poster.
That's pretty awesome. I did
Yeah,
not notice that.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so much,
Diksha.
Diksha.
Thank you. You've been a terrific host, and we appreciate you doing this for us. Thank you. Thanks, Sean.